Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Shell. We've got another video for today. And in this one, we're taking a look at the new Wolfpack Artifact Tokens. The Wolfpack Artifact Token is a new permanent addition to the DC Universe Online Marketplace. Essentially, what it does is turns your 200 artifact that you may have hold on any one of your accounts into an account-bound artifact, which means that now it is accessible across all your accounts. So in this video, we'll be clearing up any questions or misconceptions about the artifact, breaking down its value, as well as a walkthrough on how to actually use the token. So first of all, let's take a look at the value because it does come with a sticker shock of a cost of 9,000. For a non-member, it's going to be 10,000. So for the calculations that I'm going to show in terms of value breakdown is based on non-member cost. So this is just 10% less, so it's 9,000. So that becomes 10,000 station cash, $85 US. But if we take a look here, I'll put up on the screen, the cost of a 200 artifact itself, just one, breaks down in here. So it's about 1.68 million XP, all the catalyst breakdown. So if you were a new or returning player and wanted to purchase a 200 artifact, this is what you're looking at in terms of cost. And this is just for one artifact. So in terms of the breakdown here, you'll be able to see on the screen, but essentially it's $235. I did round down, so where it says the amount required. Technically, the 22 perfected nth metals is like 22.3 is some of the other catalyst packs. So this does rounding down, so it's not an exact 235 cost. It might be a little bit more depending on what XP you have available already. If you do need to purchase slightly more, then you have that option as well. So the 235 accounts for those extra costs that you may have to buy individually as well. So we're looking at 235 US for one artifact, or 10,000 or $85 for the Wolfpack token. And the Wolfpack token technically will be unlimited artifacts. You just have to have the existing 200 artifacts. So there's players like myself, my only alt is the EU. I don't really have a villain, I don't have multiple alts, but there's plenty of players that have either 3 or 4 alts, 4 or 5 alts. I know players with 10 to 20 alts. So imagine the cost of that $235 US across multiple accounts. So if you want to level up a healer, level up a tank, and want to have both those at end game levels or have multiple artifacts on them, then that's the cost you're looking at. They did recently change nth metal in the game, so it's not tradable. There's limited sources available, so you have to either farm it yourself with nth metal detectors or getting the daily rewards. So if you're a non-member, it's even more expensive because you get less nth metal through the daily login rewards. So yes, while people are going to say, well, I'd level up my artifact myself for free, that is still possible. But at the same time, you're accounting for two things. One, that's one artifact. You level up one artifact for free. If you have 10 alts, you got to level up 10 artifacts if you want them. As well, a lot of players depended on double XP weeks. And those are kind of few and far between now. It's been multiple months since our last one. Typically, we're looking at maybe 2 or 3 times in an entire year that we'll have a double XP week. We only had an extra double XP week because of the changes to the Gemini. So they gave us a technically free week for fortifying. So yes, you can level up an artifact for free, but it's dependent on a lot of variables. Where with the Wolfpack token, if you already have an existing 200 artifact, now you have across that all your accounts. So in terms of a value, there is a very strong value for the Wolfpack token in terms of the sticker shock yes, it costs $85 US or 10,000 loyalty points or 10,000 Daybreak Cash. But when you're looking at the actual value, compare that cost to the cost of one artifact being $235 versus like multiple artifacts, multiple same artifacts for that $185. So we're going to purchase it here. Keep in mind, again, this is the membership cost. So that's where it says all access discount. So if we go on our currency here, it should be displayed here, the Wolfpack token at the bottom. So now to actually use the process, we're going to be looking at the artifact vendor, John Constantine. Okay, so now that we have our Wolfpack token, we're going to John Constantine in the House of Legends. And we're looking to use the Wolfpack token to purchase a 200 artifact that we already have. So these are the ones that light up. The ones that don't light up are the ones that I do not have 200 artifact of. So the one thing to be extra careful in this menu when you're purchasing, say for example, the Wolfpack token came out in the past with that Gemini. So Eye of the Gemini was a super strong artifact. You want it across all your accounts easily. It was available. You could use it for all support roles. So say I purchased that Wolfpack token now, and I redeemed it for the Eye of the Gemini. The catch with the Wolfpack artifacts is they cannot be fortified into any other artifact. So once you have a Wolfpack artifact, you have that forever. So, for example, if that Eye of the Gemini, those adjustments came, which made it not so much nerfed, but did change the effectiveness of Eye of the Gemini, especially for DPS. Now, if you have that Wolfpack token, you're stuck with it. So just be mindful, any artifacts that you choose may be subject to change in the future. So, when you're rushing out to get those artifacts, if they're nerfed in the future, then you still have that Wolfpack artifact. You cannot fortify that into another one because that artifact changed. So just be mindful of that choice. For myself, I'm picking Lazarus Pit Water just because, this will be applying more for endgame content, but Lazarus Pit Water has already changed. It's not going to change again. And it's just a handy artifact to have where you don't want to necessarily level it because it's not something that I'm necessarily going to use predominantly each and every time, but it's just a handy artifact to have. So that's where I'm going to use my Wolfpack token on. So I'm going to purchase that from the vendor. Now I have the Wolfpack Lazarus Pit Water. Choose my Wolfpack token. And once again, if you already have it locked, make sure you remove that. So I've gone into my Wolfpack. I can fortify it with Lazarus Pit Water. I do not need, the XP is going to remain the same. I do not need any catalyst. It's just going to be for a 1-for-1 exchange. Click Fortify. Now my Lazarus Pit Water has now been Lazarus Pit Water Wolfpack 200 rank. And then here, going back to the vendor, you see Lazarus Pit Water Wolfpack voucher. So redeeming this voucher will enable all your characters to redeem a 200 Lazarus Pit Water Wolfpack from the artifact vendor or their base dispenser. So I will purchase the voucher. The voucher will disappear from your inventory. That's just more, I think that's just for identification purposes. So now, for example, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to check on my villain, and we're also going to check on my European toon, which is all the same account. So for example, we're going to log out here, switch characters. We're just going to my villain toon. Well, first we'll go to just an alt toon. This is my CR Skip tank toon, which I plan to be using in the future. So now if we go to my layer, so if I go to my base dispenser, I see Lazarus Pit Water Wolfpack, and I can dispense. So now on this toon, I now have a 200 Lazarus Pit. So if you're wondering how that works with an armory, I don't even know if I have an armory necessarily on this toon. I think it's too new for that. But either way, now that I've dispensed it, now I can apply it to my armory. Some people have questions on how do you apply it to your armories. You just dispense it like you would a henchman. Now I can equip it to an armory. So for example, let's go to my villain toon, which I do have an armory for. So that applied to my hero alt. Now we're going to confirm that it works for 200 artifact on my villain alt. So same thing, I can technically go to the artifact vendor here, John Constantine, or my base dispenser. So if I go to John Constantine, I can dispense the Wolfpack token from here, or from my actual bank in the layer. So let's go to my layer. So my base dispenser, Lazarus Pit Water, dispense. I can equip it. Don't mind this villain toon. I've never actually played it or used it. So now I can go here to my armory. I can imprint. And you can see it is now imprinted within that armory, just as you would any other artifact. So let's hop over to my European tune, which is on the same account, to show you that it's going to be there as well. Okay, so now we're on my European tune. So if I go to my base dispenser, I will see Lazarus Water Wolfpack. I can dispense. And in the same way as I would normally, I can apply that to my armory imprint. So the Wolfpack artifact is alts, cross-faction, and cross-server, as long as it's the same account. That's the catch. Now, I cannot confirm how this works with PlayStation. I don't have a PS5 or PS4, never had a PlayStation account. So if you're able as a PlayStation player to set up European and US accounts on the same hard drive, I believe, somebody can correct me wrong in the comments, and please do. I think you have to save a separate version of the game and have two different save files, one for US and one for EU. But as long as it's the same PlayStation account across both servers, the European and the US, then you'll be able to redeem the Wolfpack token. Just as I did. So on PC, it's easy because I just changed my server in the launchpad. But this is the advantage here. So paying $85 for a Wolfpack artifact token, I can redeem this artifact across all my alts, all my villain alts, and my European alts. So that's the value of that Wolfpack token, depending on your situation. Obviously, if you don't have a European account, don't necessarily rush out to make one. Same thing, vice versa. If you're a European character, you can also buy all your Wolfpack tokens and redeem them on the US side, and then create a US account. So that's just make sure first it's the same account and you're able to do that. Once again, I'm not sure how that works for the PlayStation side. Someone can add that in the comments, like I mentioned before. But at least for PC side, very easy to switch between. So for that one price of $85, I can redeem this artifact, indefinitely across all the artifacts or all the allies I may create. Which, for me, I don't have many alts and don't plan on making alts. But once again, it just highlights the value of this artifact. Once again, hopefully, I don't mind this. Actually, a lot of people, it's up in the air in terms of the artifact Wolfpack itself, how viable it is for the game. I'm actually hoping it comes out for allies as well. They could expand upon the system for materials, because right now we can't redeem materials across characters. They could do it for allies. I would much rather redeem this token for allies across alts rather than having to level up allies, because we've never had once a fortified 2 times ally week, which I don't think we're going to get either. And the ally favor sales are kind of few and far between. So while this is a very expensive system, especially because you need 3 artifacts, so technically it's 3 times $85, depending on what your situation is. But for the right players, this becomes a very, very huge time save, as well as even a money save as well. Like I said before, when you're comparing the value of leveling up the artifact yourself, either you can spend multiple months farming Nth Metal, spend multiple time, grinding out source marks, waiting for that double XP week, then getting your free artifacts yourself, which is great. Because once again, you need to see seals of completion as well, which I didn't factor into the cost. So because you can technically get them from the Destiny tokens. So that's why I didn't include them in the cost breakdown, because technically you can get those for free. But once again, then you're putting all your marketplace and membership rewards towards seals of completion for your artifacts, where you simply pay $85, and now you have that Wolfpack token that you can redeem across all your characters. So if you have any further questions or concerns about this artifact, please put in the comment section. I will be answering any of your questions regarding the Wolfpack token usage and applications. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.